So a few days back, the daughter of a well-known billionaire in Nigeria got married, and that is the person of Femi Otedola, all right? And the daughter got married, and a couple of videos were trending on the internet, and one of them was the one where he was talking about how he bought two properties in Dubai. Both properties were bought in Dubai, and one of them was for the engagement party, and the other one was for the after party of the wedding. And I mean, it was a mind-blowing video to watch, right? And while watching the video, I could see a whole lot of lessons for realtors. If you are into sales of any kind, especially high-ticket sales, this particular video is absolutely for you, because I have taken time to bring out 12 solid lessons that every realtor, every agent, every salesman must pay attention to and learn from that particular short clip that would have happened. Of course, you know that as a coach and having trained realtors across Nigeria, you can be rest assured that you get the best of lessons and principles and strategies that you can figure out and pick and use for a thing or two to be able to make high quality sales back to back. And of course, you get that from this particular video. This video is brought to you by Fortreal Real Estate Academy right here in Nigeria. And what we are doing, so make sure that you are properly taught and equipped and inspired to have the right skills and knowledge as it relates to selling real estate consistently. All right, and we have the materials, the visual materials, the video materials, the books that can help you to be able to make all of the sales and do that consistently, and also be able to build a sustainable brand in the real estate sector, irrespective of where you are in Nigeria, in Africa, and of course the world. Just subscribe to the channel, like this video, drop a comment, and most importantly, share this video with as many realtors as possible. So I'm going to start by sharing lesson number 12 with you, and you definitely don't want to miss lesson number 1. So lesson number 12, contact. There definitely was a contact between Femi Otedola and the realtor. And the question is, where did they meet? How did they meet? However they met, the most important thing is that there was a contact. If Otedola did not know this guy, if Otedola did not know this realtor, then definitely there wouldn't have been any form of sale forever. So you must begin to pay serious attention to your visibility. It could have been a referral. If it was a referral, then it means that he had done a good job for somebody, and that was why he was referred. If he was discovered on the internet, then definitely he would have been doing something right that made Femi Otedola to reach out to him regardless of his status. And of course, it means that he was valuable and he was visible. And if it was a physical meeting, then it simply means that the realtor got himself into a room where Otedola was, and then of course had the courage to introduce himself, and a contact happened. The point in this particular point is that you must pay attention to having the right contact. And recently I was teaching you how you have to pay attention to shaking hands. Shake every hand, but make sure that you are paying attention to shaking the right hands, entering the right room, and investing in your visibility. Because when there is no visibility, then there is no contact. And when there's no contact, there's no conversation. When there's no conversation, there is no conversion. And of course, there is no sales and there's no money. So yes, begin to pay attention to your contacts, those that you know and those that indeed know you. Lesson number 11, know your market. Have the products to show. Now, this person definitely knows the Dubai real estate market. For him to have come back over and over, it simply means that there was something the realtor was getting right. The point here is know your products and have the right products to show. Some persons may argue that the properties that he was showing to Femi Otedola were not making sense. That is why he kept on coming back to check other properties. But then again, the point is, if that guy was wasting Femi Otedola's time, then definitely there wouldn't have been a coming back. So the point is, make sure you have enough properties that will make someone to even come back again and much later be able to consider making a purchase. Point number 10, make relationships, not just sales. This is critical. Make relationship, not just sales. In fact, if you can't make a sale, make sure you make them fall in love with you. I taught that extensively, or I wrote that extensively in my book, Sell Real Estate Consistent. I have learned in years of doing real estate, selling real estate. For some clients, they may never say a yes to you the first time they reach out to you. Sometimes it will require them taking their time to make a decision. I remember sharing a story of a client who reached out to me and only made a purchase after 2 years of reaching out to me. He called me, we inspected the estate, he fell in love with it, and he never made a purchase. I did follow up as I would, but of course I moved from direct follow-up to indirect follow-up. I think I'll share further on that somewhere in this particular video. And like I was saying, 2 years after, that was when he came back, and the weekend he reached out to me, he made purchase in several millions. And 2 weeks after that first purchase, he added 2 extra plus that even took the transaction to another level in terms of money, and the commission was totally amazing. So the point is, make sure that even if a client says a no to you now, make sure that you don't terminate that client really fast. Don't see relationships with prospects as client relationships. See them as relationships that can lead or end up becoming a business relationship. If all you see is the transaction, then you will miss the conversations, you miss the relationships that can even help you build something very sustainable. For this realtor, the first time Femi Otedola reached out, there was no sale. The second house was inspected, the 10th house was inspected, and there was no purchase, and he went on to inspect as much as 70 properties until a sale was made. If he had gotten angry or lost it in a way that leads to terminating that relationship, or seeing the client as unserious at that particular point, the sale, this present sale, or the 2 sales that he had made would definitely not have happened. So if you don't make a sale yet, make sure that you make a relationship. Point number 9 is be patient. Be absolutely patient with every client. There are different types of clients, and of course I think I'm going to touch on psychographics. Psychographics in real estate specifically teaches you how to categorize your client as it relates to why they buy or the reason why they choose to buy. And what that teaches you is that when you know this client, you know whether this one is the one that buys in a hurry or buys quickly, or the one that is going to delay you or make you wait for a very long time. So the idea is, if you're not patient with the client, regardless of their category, then you're going to be losing a lot. In fact, real estate is high ticket. I can bet that you, as someone watching me right now, definitely would have turned down on making some purchases or even delayed something of 10K for a long time. So if you have the right to delay in making purchases for as low as 10,000 naira, then it is safe to allow whoever is making a purchase of 100 million, 20 million, even 1 million naira to take his time and make a decision whenever he or she is ready. And it is also your responsibility to be patient with the person. Lesson number 8, and a very, very important one: the daughter. The daughter was a trigger. The daughter was a gatekeeper, or is a gatekeeper. In other words, she was the one that triggered a sale at the point the sale was made. And in real estate, I have learned there are people who may be third parties or representatives, and they play critical roles in determining whether that transaction will be made or not. Sometimes, especially for someone like me who sells to people who live in the diaspora a whole lot, I've learned that some of the people that my clients send as representatives may be the reason why the sale happens or the sale doesn't happen. So how you treat them matter. And of course, sometimes they also get desperate and are asking you for 10%. And for those ones, I don't even care, right? But that's conversation for another day. But the point I'm trying to make is that make sure that you know who is in front of you. If, for example, the daughter didn't like the realtor, or for whatever reason the realtor did something that didn't make sense to the daughter, I can tell you for free that that sale wouldn't have happened. So the point is, know if there is any gatekeeper in that transaction or in the life of that person that you are looking to sell that particular thing to. Point number 7, learn to upsell, learn to make offers. The guy haven't made the first sale. Later on, saw something that looked like what this man would love again, and then he reached out and made an offer. All right, at that particular point in time, another sale was made. If he didn't make the second offer, then the second sale within a short period of time wouldn't have happened. One of the fastest sales I have made in my life was selling 10 plus of land in 24 hours, less than 24 hours of launching an estate. All right, and what happened was that I made an offer. Right, I needed that money, I needed that sale to be made, and I made an offer to one of my clients, and within 24 hours, 10 plots of land was completely sold. If I didn't make that offer, that sale wouldn't have been made. And point number 6, branding. Branding. Otedola is somebody who definitely pays attention to branding, and I can tell you for free that this realtor definitely paid attention to branding, because if the realtor wasn't really looking the part, then I doubt if someone like Femi Otedola would have trusted the realtor to do such transactions with the realtor, or even allow the realtor to show him as much as 70 properties, because the rich move based on energy. They don't connect with you just because they have your number or they feel like connecting with you. If they connect with you for the very first time and the energy is not matching, rest assured that will be the very last time you will hear from that wealthy man, because life is a lot about connection and frequency. If the wealthy man had reached out to the realtor and there was no connection, either in terms of wealth or mindset, first understand that wealth is not the real deal. The real deal is the mindset. And of course, the packaging and branding around what you are doing as a realtor, especially dependent on the kind of product you are selling. Remember in his book, Making It Big, he talked about how someone showed up in a particular car, a Volkswagen car, and then because of that kind of show up, he priced the guy in a way that didn't actually make sense, knowing that he could take advantage of the person. So imagine that same person checking out properties. Imagine the kind of mindset that he's going to have in terms of making purchases as it relates to real estate. So take your branding seriously. Don't overpackage. Create the right balance in terms of value, capacity, and of course, the level of excellence required that matches your product and where you want to be in terms of your vision. Point number 5, know your client. Know your client. This is too important. I mentioned psychographics a moment ago, and it is designed to tell. I think I'm going to do a video on that separately. Psychographic teaches you who this person is and why they make the kind of decisions that they make. I can take a guess that this guy, for whatever reason, knew the kind of person that Femi Otedola was. And it was only a question of time. One day, one deal go close. In fact, part of what you must know is that you know their financial status or level of wealth in terms of their capacity. One thing I've learned about the wealthy, especially at a particular level of wealth, is that they don't buy certain things because they need them. They buy certain things the way you shop for clothes or shoe. For example, just like you may just be on your way from work and you decide to branch to buy ice cream or buy pizza. It's the same way people, certain persons at certain level of wealth can wake up in the morning and decide to buy a house, buy a car, a Lamborghini, another Ferrari, that kind of thing. That is that level of wealth that this man has gotten to. And the realtor definitely knew. That is why he kept on tapping it and being patient with the man, knowing that one day a deal will definitely close, knowing the kind of person that he was dealing with. So whether your prospective client is popular or not, in having conversations with them, make sure that you are able to figure out the kind of persons that they are. That definitely helps you in making the right conversation so that you're not giving discount to someone who doesn't care about discounts. Rather, you are offering value that matches the person's energy. And lesson number 4, master objections. Kai, I wish I can really spend time right here. Objection is key in every real estate transaction. And I've taught you, objection is not a no. At best, it is a not yet. In other words, I'm not ready, or I need more clarity, or this is not what I want. If you ignore the principles around objection, then you are going to be losing a whole lot of this, because trust me, in almost every sale I have personally made in my years of doing real estate, I definitely got objections. Your job is now to know how. In fact, some objections help you to even make sales faster, because you know it, you understand it, and you know how to leverage on it to be able to make your sales smooth. And I taught that extensively in chapter 13 of this book, How to Sell Real Estate Consistently, chapter 13 of the book, Objections and How to Handle Them, Formula for Dealing with Objections, and 19 types of objections and how to handle them. Critical chapter, critical conversation for every realtor, regardless of where you are. Lesson number 3, trust. Trust was definitely in the picture. This video is already too long, so I'm gonna just wrap up the conversation. Trust was definitely in the picture. And number 2, the guy was consistent and didn't give up. The guy was consistent and didn't give up. Imagine for 15 years. It means that whether the guy made a sale to Femi Otedola or not, he was consistent and available enough in a way that whenever Femi Otedola was ready, he was right there in the business growing. And I could guess that the car the guy was using the first time Femi Otedola inspected the property was no longer the car he was using 15 years after. Or the guy may have changed his office. In other words, within 15 years, this guy definitely would have grown enough to the point where Femi Otedola absolutely can give this guy trust, because growth has a way of selling trust for you. For a lot of realtors, inconsistency is the problem. You are in this month, next month you give up, you're not available, you lose energy, and then that's it. And then you continue that way for 5 years and you eventually give up. The problem for a lot of realtors is inconsistency. If you can deal with that problem, you will definitely be able to enjoy the dividend of doing real estate the right way. For this guy, he definitely was consistent and available. And when Otedola checked in again, he was still available, was still right there, and of course would have grown enough for Otedola to consider doing a deal as quickly as possible. And the very, very last point is follow up professionally. This guy, after the first inspection, second, third, or even the fifth inspection, this guy would have done follow-up in an unprofessional way that may have made Femi Otedola to block him or to delete his number from his phone, or even tell him not to reach out again. And that is a problem of a lot of realtors. Desperation makes you do follow-up unprofessionally. In fact, you ignore the real strategies of follow-up, which most of the times, in my opinion, from my experience, are indirect. And we do it in a way that you just want the client to buy. And when you do such unprofessional follow-up for a lot of clients, especially when you are doing high ticket, you're going to lose those deals. And that will likely lead to you not being successful in real estate. I think I'm going to end it right here. This has been really a great conversation to have, and I look forward to possibly seeing you in class or getting my books, Sell Real Estate Consistently, and of course, Real Estate Laws in Nigeria, Understanding Real Estate Laws in Nigeria. If you're interested in any of the books, do make sure that you reach out to the number shown right on your screen. And if you're interested in taking our video course, Get Certified, then of course, there's the other number to reach out to, which is the Fortreal Real Estate Academy. See you on the very next video. Enjoy the rest of your day. I remain your lead facilitator, Raymond Ijawa.